Hey everyone, hope they're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all of these topics and subjects, looking for potential investment opportunities in individual companies. I share what I'm doing on the website. We do talk a lot about the macro picture and what's going on in the markets. We do have a coupon code that's still active, May Day, if you're interested. So let's dive in. Let's take a look. We've got the dollar here, and it is continuing to go lower. I still see good downside momentum. It's the large red candlesticks that we see inside that circle. These small red candlesticks, most of the consolidations are facing upward. That generally means that we are in a downtrend. That has not changed. When we take a bigger picture look and look at the weekly candlesticks, you can see that momentum heading lower. So how far can we go back on the dollar? I would say one good strong support level is around the $97, $98 range in that circle there. That could be something that we could hit in the nearish future here, nearish being 2024, 2025. Generally, what drives the dollar lower is a lowering of interest rates, and that's definitely what the Fed has indicated that they are signaling to do is lower interest rates. So the 2-year yields are continuing to go lower. We are getting a little bit of a bounce here, but that still could go lower with time. I think the markets are trying to figure out just how much lower do yields really need to go. Looking at this from a weekly candlestick perspective, we've broken the downtrend here, and we have been heading lower. That momentum is still there, and we'll see how much lower we go with the 2-year yield. We could potentially go all the way back to this breakout as a possibility. Doesn't mean we will. It's possible, and that's way lower than where we are today. We're 3.9%, and this could be as low, and let me move that over for you guys. This could be as low as 1.5% even down here if it were to do a full retest. So that is possible, and that would mean a lot of rate cuts and probably pretty big rate cuts to get down there if it were to get down there. The 10-year yield is slightly higher today. There we are, and we're still kind of in this pattern. Now I'm going to redraw this. I just drew that real quickly. I think it's more on the lines of something that looks more like this, potentially. And we'll see which direction that goes. It does look like we could break to the upside here in the short term. And then the 30-year yield's doing something very similar. It's trying to base out here and figure out which direction it wants to go. This is below the breakout here of this trend line here. So we could come all the way back down to that X area. That would be a retest of the breakout. So basically, we've got this big long-term breakout. We broke out here. You generally run and then you do a retest return move. We don't know exactly which, how far it's going to return. A full retest is down here. It could easily come down to this area and continue higher from there. That we don't know. This is a end of trend pattern, shoulder, head, shoulder, then the breakout. TYX TNX ratio, we are up a little bit today. Not a huge amount, but it does look like it's setting up for a potential move higher if we break this little downtrend line that we've got going on here. We could do kind of a pattern that looks like that, or we could break immediately. But this has been working its way on up. It's got upside momentum, and we've got a long way to go higher if that wants to uninvert. That's generally good for precious metals. TLT bond prices down just a teeny bit today, down 0.17, but we're still looking good for a move higher. We've broken the downtrend line there, and I do expect this to work its way on up. over time with yields dropping. This is all good for precious metals, this setup here. The 2 and 10, it is uninverting here, guys. So we did see the 2-year go down 0.8% and the 10-year go up 0.4%. We are hanging around that 1% level, which is here. So we could see that pull back and break through that 1% level, which would then indicate the uninversion of the yield curve and potential weakness in the markets. So that is kind of what everyone is afraid of. And when you pair this with the unemployment rate that's going up, it makes it more likely that this will uninvert. That is the wheelhouse for precious metals to do very well in. Looking at precious metals, gold's up $5 at the moment. There we are. And I do think we could go higher with uninversion of the yield curve and yields coming back down. Silver is flat today, but still looks good to go higher. This could be a rocket ship at some point here. I don't know exactly when, but we are sitting on top of all these breakouts here, guys, and that's when it goes. I mean, this is all primed and ready to go, and it looks very good to go higher. Platinum is still priming. We're in that priming stage. We just got to break this guy, and we're primed and ready to go. It's got the same type of pattern, lead-in pattern that we've got that silver does. And then palladium at support. Still working our way around here at that support level, just above all of the support levels. So GDX is flat. We opened the day down, but the momentum came back up throughout the day. It looks good to me. That's generally a sign of strength. We saw that across the board here. So GDX looks pretty good to continue higher. We've got GDXJ that is working its way above that resistance line, which is now support. And we're still above it. It looks really good. This is really, really good. It's a downward facing consolidation to go higher. And then SILJ is doing the same thing. It's just a consolidation that's going to most likely break higher when gold and silver continue to work its way on up. XEU to gold ratio, we're just down slightly, but this is still in a favorable situation. We've broken the downtrend line down here, and we are at a very low level to work our way on up when that yield curve uninverts. So think of the yield curve uninverting. Gold goes up and oil generally stays low or goes down during that time frame. So that's where the margins of the mining companies go up. XAU outperforms. Crude oil down 2%. I do think it's pricing in a little bit maybe of that, but we're still within this pattern, guys, and it hasn't broken in either direction yet. And most of the time when we squeeze up like this after a big move, we get a capitulation like end move. So we got one here in 2001. That is 9/11. When the Twin Towers got hit down here, that did pull back. And we also got that with the COVID pullback. That was a major one. We also got it, obviously, in 2008, which is that pullback there. But we could work our way down before heading higher. That is a possibility, and I'm open to that happening. We could very well break to the upside, too, if the fundamentals of the market gets way too tight. But with where the yield curve is located and unemployment rate going up, it makes the call very difficult here. So we're going to have to wait and see which way it breaks. TTF gas for net gas continuing higher today, 3.77. Looks pretty good to go higher. Nice big candlesticks. Small little pullback that we went through, but looks good. We've got natural gas in America heading a little bit lower, but we're at support. So we'll see if that support level holds. You can also draw this support level down where there's a lot more support down here, which is basically where we're at, which is all these hits through here. So we're at support. We've got our boy XOP. Yeah, you know me. We are at support here. A difficult read, but there's your support level looking at it from a monthly candlestick basis. We're right on support of the tail end of this candle coming back up. On the weekly candlesticks, we're right on top of it, but we've got a bearish engulfing on the weekly developing here if we close low throughout the week. So it's got signs of a bullish formation and it's got signs of a bearish formation, depending on how you look at it and the time frame that you look at it. And if oil breaks, obviously XOP is going to go where oil goes. And if oil breaks to the downside, this would be a bearish formation. If oil breaks to the upside, it's going to be a bullish formation. So we're still waiting to see clear evidence. But if I were to take a guess, you have to take into account the overall macro environment, unemployment rate going up, and the yield curve potentially uninverting. You could make a bear case in the short term. OIH also selling off a little bit today, 0.92%. There it is. And this could be a bear flag pattern that we've entered that could easily head lower. We are also underneath resistance, which is the trend line, this bottom trend line coming up there, which could act as resistance as we come back and we could roll over. Definitely a possibility. Newcastle coal futures, this still looks good. We're on top of all of the support levels, and that still looks good to go higher. It'll probably move with TTF nat gas. Profits Uranium Trust trading sideways. We basically almost filled that gap today. But boom, and we'll see where this goes. We've got kind of the mismatch between macro environment conditions and fundamentals of the sector. Oil's in the same situation as the uranium sector. So who's going to win in the short term? That flip a coin, guys. We don't know because the macro conditions are weak. We very well could go into a recession or are already in a recession. And that's what we're trying to balance out. And that's what I think OPEC is balancing out. And the uranium sector is also very strong fundamentally. And we also have a little bit of selling pressure here in the futures pricing today. And we're right at the tip here. So we'll see which direction. We could also get a false breakout and then a slingshot higher. It's still possible. URA tracking sideways, indecisive. Look at all these indecisive candlesticks. We've got URNM also indecisive, moving sideways, and URNJ indecisive. These don't look horrible, though. They could still go higher. We've got good upside momentum with the small little pullback there. They'll still look good to work its way on up. So we'll see. We've got copper up a little bit. It's just been working its way on up, and that looks good to continue. COPX following the copper's lead. This is also going through some really bad supply problems. So we've got the macro conditions of a slowdown paired with supply constraints on all of those commodities. Iron ore, just moving sideways, right against resistance support. That does look okay. It's still holding on. We've got aluminum up just a little bit. Another one that is experiencing some tightness in the market going forward, I think. This could be a fun ride when that materializes. Nickel up a little bit. This is looking like it's trying to base out down here and make a turn to the upside, so that is a good thing for nickel. But again, guys, it all depends on interest rates, macro conditions that are weighing on these at the moment. We've got MU moving sideways. It's looking okay to work its way on up. We are above a lot of the support levels. We got this line here and the horizontal, and we're above all of it. So even if we come back, it's still above it to work its way on up and gain support. Emerging markets up just a teeny bit. Yields were mixed with a weaker dollar, so that makes sense. Pretty much mixed on emerging markets. KRE down just a teeny bit. Still looks good to work its way on up. These aren't huge selling pressure days. TAN down just a little bit. We've got lithium down just a teeny bit. It looks like it's trying here. An REMX, very similar candlesticks, and we're all it's trying to bottom, I think. We don't see huge selling pressure yet. If we start to see the big red candlesticks break out, then I'd get a little bit worried. But it's still holding on. Baltic Dry Index right at support. Just a small little down day. We've got XHB down some. I know the 10-year was up. That still looks good to go higher. More than likely, the home builders will go up so long that yields continue to drop if we see that condition. Russell 2000 down just a little bit. Still looks like a bullish formation to go higher. Just two small red candlesticks, and we're above support here. We've got the S&P 500 moving sideways today. Lots of uncertainty around, I think, the market conditions and the environment and potential recession that people are talking about. And we'll see if this rolls over or not. NASDAQ's in the same situation. Very similar. We've got a throw over top, a potential break of that pattern, and then this is the retest. And usually it rolls over. That's what we're watching to see if we get the rollover here. SMCI, that's sold off, down 2.64%. A little bit of momentum throughout the day upward, but that looks like it wants to go lower. NVIDIA up 1.5%, but again, we got bearish engulfings all over the place in this thing. Someone's selling it, and we'll see if this is kind of like a double top here. And then we had lower. We'll find out. BTC down 2.3%, but it's still within the pattern. Nothing really much to say there. And Ethereum down a little bit more. Is this a breakout of this pattern here? We'll find out tomorrow. And if we get confirmation and follow through. If it's a bearish formation. But that's what we've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday coupon code if you're still interested. We've got the midweek update coming up tomorrow. So I'll release that tomorrow morning sometime about my opinions on the market and what I'm doing and kind of the things that I'm looking at. But that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.